Picture this, it's the end of July in 2004. Stuart, Scott, and Dan Patrick are anchoring SportsCenter, telling you that Lance Armstrong just won his 6th Tour de France. Tour de France. And Barry Bonds was currently on pace for another legendary season. Just two sports heroes who can do no wrong. After the morning rundown, you pop your disc of NFL 2K5 into your PlayStation 2 or Xbox and play a game with the Peyton Manning-led Colts against the plucky and likable New England Patriots. Life is good and stress-free. Fast forward 15 years later. When looking at the current sports video game landscape, unlike the actual sports leagues they're based on, there hasn't been much competition in recent years for traditional powers. With Major League Baseball, the MLB Show Series has provided baseball junkies a yearly fix to virtually play the national pastime. And with strong showings almost every year, fans seem satisfied with the San Diego studio product driving the MLB 2K series to the dollar store bargain bin. And though they're considered a small pocket in the video game community, to some, the MVP Baseball series is still considered the best baseball video game franchise. But most still remain quite satisfied with MLB The Show. The FIFA and NBA 2K series are also renowned for their typical strong releases and followings. These two franchises have become a part of modern day sports fandom. Both FIFA and NBA 2K are typically among the highest selling video game releases, regardless of genre. Rappers have discussed their love of these games in lyrics, and ordinary gamers have shared their passion across the internet, such as in meme form. One of the major reasons for their popularity are the franchises, usually seamless online play, connecting gamers to friends and worldwide opponents. Unable to keep up, Pro Evolution Series and NBA Live, they have failed to seriously challenge the undisputed kings of FIFA and NBA 2K. Even in hockey simulation, the NHL video game series, formerly known as NHL Hockey, has little competition for consumers. Its top rival, the NHL 2K series, discontinued main console games after their 2010 release, and have only recently released games via mobile device. Shifting to the NFL, the most popular sports league in the United States, it has been routinely highlighted by fans, writers, and analysts for its vast competition and parity on the gridiron. However, several of these sports games previously mentioned on a simulated video game level, Electronic Arts, or EA, the scourge of many a game series, currently has an exclusive licensing agreement with the NFL. So only their product, the Madden NFL series, can present the NFL teams, stadiums, and players into their video games. This has virtually eliminated most of Madden's competition. Yet, that wasn't always the case. At one time, while Madden has remained the video game football juggernaut since its inception, there was once several options for gamers if they wanted to play as their favorite NFL players and team. The short-lived NFL Fever series from Microsoft was a nice effort, and its legacy lives on in question form. Former Pro Bowl journeyman Mark Brunell once graced the cover of what video game series? There was also Sony's NFL Game Day series, which put out an impressive run of 10 games in a decade. However, to combat Madden, there was another series, NFL 2K, which, to many gamers at the dawn of the millennium, created the best football video game on the market. From 1999 to 2004, developer Visual Concepts and publisher Sega Sports released its NFL 2K series. Created in response to the Madden series not making games for the Sega Dreamcast, with each yearly release, NFL 2K was improving upon its predecessor, a complaint some in the gaming community have had over the Madden series for a long time now, which have been perceived as stale and no longer innovative. Even though every football player on a video game in the late 90s and early 2000s looked hulky, the models on NFL 2K, the franchise's first release, thanks to its vast library of motion captured animation, moved more realistic than their video game competitors. This series' realism also spilled onto the sidelines, where photographers, reserve players, and coaches were seen on the video game level for the first time. And over the years, the improvements kept coming, and each new game felt a little bit different, and not just like a roster update. After not including a franchise mode in their initial release, NFL 2K added it, and allowed console gamers to play online for free. In NFL 2K2, the franchise finally transferred to the PS2 and Xbox due to the demise of the Dreamcast in 2001. And with improved graphics and AI, though the franchise mode's lack of change was criticized, the game was still a favorable substitute for many Madden gamers. In NFL 2K3, the franchise made a tremendous jump when the title introduced an ESPN-like style presentation. Headlining this presentation change was the inclusion of legendary SportsCenter anchor Dan Patrick. And for gamers, it was in fuego.
This is NFL 2K3 on ESPN.
After listening to the criticism from the previous year's edition, the franchise mode was greatly improved. Historic teams were added into the title, player models and graphics were enhanced, Gameplay finally added pre-snap hot routes and audibles, something which Madden had previously done. Yet, some would say 2K improved on these features due to its 2-button layout rather than Madden's 3 buttons. And after including Xbox Live in NFL 2K2, the next title actually allowed online voice chat, which had both benefits and potty mouth costs. ESPN NFL Football was actually the lowest selling title in the series, despite remaining a strong football game. This decline in sales may have had to do with a further rebrand of the franchise under the ESPN umbrella, which is clearly seen in the title of the 2003 release. And despite the decline in sales, the game remained innovative with new modes such as the 32-team online league for the PS2. Madden wouldn't add this until 2010. The franchise mode was also twerked a little bit, adding ESPN legend Chris Berman into the fray.
Welcome to the Bristol Studios. I'm Chris Berman, and this is NFL Countdown. Up next, it's Terry looking to take everything that isn't nailed down.
And in-game changes, such as the gamer now being able to shift their defensive backs and the introduction of double blocking, were welcome additions to the franchise. The franchise's last game, NFL 2K5, remains the definitive game in the series, and the title still receives mass praise on Reddit forums and YouTube comment chains. Released in July of 2004 in North America, the title was a well-received game by fans and critics. Joining Berman from the previous title was fellow Bristol colleagues Trey Wingo, Mel Kiper Jr., and Susie Colbert. Gamers could also create and customize their own franchise, which included logo, stadium, jersey, and city. To celebrate the 25th anniversary of ESPN, the game also added a game mode of 25 classic games, which included the Ice Bowl, the Heidi Bowl, the Sea of Hands, the Catch, and the 4th and 26th game. And very impressively, the game added profiles to reflect the tendencies of in-game coaches and their play calling styles, as well as your opponents in the real world. This meant, for example, that the high-flying Colts with Peyton Manning played very differently than, say, the New York Giants, who relied on Tiki Barber to relieve the aging veteran Kurt Warner and the rookie Eli Manning. While the game itself was well received, earning high marks across the video game landscape, one of the most appreciative elements for many fans was the cost. NFL 2K5 only cost gamers $19.99. By comparison, Madden that year shipped at the cost of $49.99, but had to slash their price to $29.95 to keep up with their competitors. Following this impressive business move for the NFL 2K series, Madden sales took a significant hit. Needing to do something and something quick, the video game franchise went for the jugular and completed the kill. EA agreed to a deal with the NFL that they were the only video game allowed to copy the properties of the league into their video games in December of 2004. And because EA didn't stop, even though their main football rival was already dead, the video game company also signed a deal to become the only video game company to present the ESPN brand in their video game, regardless of sport. This dealt a fatal blow to the 2K franchise, whose last video game was released in 2007. It was NFL All-Pro 2K8, which included NFL legends such as Jerry Rice, John Elway, and Barry Sanders, playing for made-up teams. It's actually a pretty fun game if a football fan appreciated NFL history and understood that only Tony Gonzalez belongs in the conversation of GOAT tight end with John Madden. And to quote legendary coach John Madden, boom, here we are. So gamers may ask, what now? It seems that EA's Madden series has a monopoly on football video games. So do they? Well, technically no. EA has exclusive rights to the NFL, not football. Video game companies can make a video game with the Arena Football League, flag football, or even the CFL, with Johnny Manziel as the box art cover if they wanted to. Well, not anymore. But like other major sports leagues, the NFL is also an antitrust exemption company, and they are not subject to antitrust laws. Others may ask, when does the NFL's agreement with Madden end? EA has been very quiet on the details of the contract in terms of both finance and times renewed, but the original deal was signed in 2005 and expires in 2020. So apparently, their exclusive rights to the NFL will soon end, and gamers can have another option, right? Yes, but the idea of a new video game even challenging Madden is slim. Sure, the game of football on a video game doesn't need vast changes. However, the competition would help EA continually work on refining and perfecting their game, rather than sitting back on their laurels with no realistic competition.
His leg is rotisserie, yo! His leg is turning around like it's a rotisserie!
How many times does a game with your buddy become a frustrating event due to an inconsistent frame rate and choppy gameplay? I don't think Soldier Field is that quiet when the Bears host the Packers.
As the Bears get set to match up with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers.
These are just several of many complaints the Madden series has faced for almost over a decade. And without viable competition, these issues aren't going away. And it doesn't matter since so many will pre-order and buy the game anyway. NFL 2K was a video game we needed, but didn't deserve. With its innovation and lower cost, it was not only a very solid football video game, but in fact, it was probably the most valuable game on the market. According to an Owen Good review on Polygon, the legacy of 2K5 is simply legendary. In his review, Good stated, quote, 2K is video gaming's King Arthur, eternally populous, noble, and heroic, champion of an age long ago enough to make its triumphs soar and its shortcomings recede to nothingness, end quote. While there are still football video games in the ethers of Amazon and local gaming shops, outside of Madden, you won't be able to play with your favorite teams and players in your favorite venues to hear your favorite and not so favorite announcers call the game. Looking at you, Chris Collinsworth.
We've seen a lot of heroics in Super Bowls, and sometimes it's the star players, and sometimes it's the guys that you've never heard of. Who will it be tonight?
Or Joe Buck.
Vick. And Vick. Vick. And Vick. Vick. And Vick. Touchdown, no flags.
One of those two. I don't like either one of them. So here we are. The most popular sporting league in the United States is tied to one video game series, which has had some hits, but also plenty of misses. The question football video gamers may want to ask now is, can or will the NFL 2K series ever come back? Possibly yes, but at least not until 2020. And if it did come back after missing out on a generation of gamers and consoles, will the consumer still want to play it, or would they rather stick to the safe bet of Madden, glitches and all?